in the storyline, if I recall, I haven't read Brave New World in probably 6 years, but in the storyline, if I recall, they don't allow you to make music in that future world because you can't make your own baby, right?
Right.
Because everything comes out of a test tube. And you can't make your own music. And so they have a law that like all the music has to be produced by computers. So it's all literal techno music. And I think that's just the reason why that, he describes the music at the religious ceremony as, some techno-ish type of thing. But to back up what Tim was saying about this Far Eastern idea, it's not just Father Sephram Rose that had talked about that. I was just remembering, I had to go over to my Global Elite bookshelf over there and get some of their writings. One of their big green proponent guys is this Fritjof Capra, Frito Capricorn. He wrote The Turning Point back in the early 80s, and I remembered that in the first 100 pages, he says that we need more than just a revolution in thinking and a revolution in medicine, blah, blah, blah. He says we need everything changed, a total revolution. He says that what the West will have to do, this is crazy, he says the West will have to adopt the kind of philosophy that is seen in China and is seen in Japan, these Eastern dualistic religions. He says because the purpose of the dualism and the dualistic religions is that you're supposed to overcome all dualities by blending into the block. And he says that the best way to go about this is to convince the people in the West to adopt these anti-logic, anti-rational positions that get rid of things like law of identity, law of excluded middle, law of non-contradiction. He says that we can best do this by pushing Far Eastern philosophies, quantum physics gibberish. And he says that when we do that, then we can blend the West and the East into this higher synthesis, right? And again, remember, he wrote this in the 80s, and he quotes and cites all of the stuff from Kessler, by the way, the Holon stuff about, well, what this is that this is Kessler and this guy saying, oh, have you noticed that systems in nature aren't individuals? They're holistic systems. Oh, so you see, everybody should be part of the holistic system. There are no individuals. You're just a cell on the surface of, Gaia, Mother Earth, whatever. You don't exist as an individual. Now, I'm not a radical individualist, but I'm saying that they're saying that you got to be like the rest of nature and exist as a holistic system. And you have to, and we're the ones that tell you what the holistic system is. And then he goes on and says, the key to bringing this in, I thought this was crazy, especially, post-Kuf. He says that one of the key ways we'll bring this in is to the medical system. He says that the back door of bringing in the NWO is the medical system. And one last thing, just to back up a lot of the points that Tim was making, is that, we might think about this as conspiracy theory, but, what we do over on my channel is that we just lecture. No, that's not the only thing we do, but one of the main things we do is we just lecture from the books of these people. That's it. That way nobody can say, you're a conspiracy theorist, even though they still do. Even though all we do is lecture from their books, they still, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, look, I'm telling you right here, Jacques Attali tells you in Brief History of the Future, he's the Kissinger of France, and he's the one that says we will drastically reduce the population, and by 2040, 50, get this, he says the vanguard of hyper-democracy that he says will link everybody into the big supercomputers, the Matrix. He says the transhumanists are the vanguard of hyper-democracy and the NWO.
Jeez.
And that's no different than all these other people, these so-called heroes of science. I won't say you can, so that we don't get algorithmed here. You can go read him in this book, and he's famous for stabbies.
Yep.
This whole book is about killing everybody. The father of stabbies writes a book about killing everybody with stabbies and other things.
Okay. That I never knew.